Learn more on BBC Bitesize.
Hello and welcome to BBC Bitesize GCSE English Literature. I'm Anka and today we're going to be delving into Charles Dickens's timeless classic, A Christmas Carol. We'll be exploring the key characters, the plot points and the themes that make this ghostly tale so enduring. Set in Victorian London, this novella follows the transformation of the miserly Ebenezer Scrooge after he's visited by a series of ghosts on Christmas Eve. It's a story about redemption, social inequality, and of course, the Christmas spirit. Although Scrooge himself would probably say, "Bah, humbug," to that last part. So, pull up a chair by the fire and let's travel back to 1843 as we unwrap the story of Scrooge and his spectral visitors. Now, our story begins on Christmas Eve in Scrooge's counting house. Ebenezer Scrooge is our protagonist, although he's hardly heroic at this point. In fact, he's cold, bitter, and cares for nothing but money. When we first meet him, Dickens describes Scrooge as a squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner, hard and sharp as flint, from which no steel had ever struck out generous fire, secret and self-contained and solitary as an oyster. Not exactly the life of the party, is he? We see Scrooge refuse to donate to charity, snap at his loyal clerk, Bob Cratchit, and dismiss his cheerful nephew Fred's invitation to Christmas dinner. Now, Fred believes in the goodness of the season, saying, "The only time where men and women seem by one consent to open their shut-up hearts freely." But Scrooge isn't having any of it. His catchphrase, "Bah, humbug," perfectly captures his disdain for Christmas cheer. You can think of him as the original Grinch, albeit he's not green and wears a top hat instead. That night, Scrooge is visited by the ghost of his former business partner, Jacob Marley. And Marley isn't just popping in for a chat. When we see him, he is wrapped in chains. Now, these represent his greed and misdeeds in his life. Marley warns Scrooge that he'll be visited by 3 spirits and that these visits are Scrooge's only way to avoid Marley's fate. Scrooge, being the delightful optimist he is, would probably prefer to take his chances with the chains. However, the spirits aren't going to give him a choice. As promised by Marley's ghost, Scrooge is visited by the first of the Christmas spirits. This is the ghost of Christmas past. This ghost appears as a strange figure, seeming to be both an old man and a child. The ghost shows Scrooge scenes from his childhood and a lively scene with his cheerful old boss, Fezziwig. Next, he takes Scrooge to a time where his younger self is with his fiancée, a girl called Belle. She is telling the younger Scrooge about how she must leave him because he seems to have changed and seems to now love money more than her. Then we see Belle become a woman with her own happy family. Scrooge is upset and the ghost returns him to his bed. Next, Scrooge meets the ghost of Christmas present, a jolly giant dressed in green robes with a torch that resembles a horn of plenty. I'm really sorry, but it turns out the green robes don't show up on green screen, so you'll just have to imagine. This ghost shows Scrooge how others celebrate Christmas, including his clerk, Bob Cratchit, and his family. Despite their poverty, the Cratchits enjoy a modest Christmas dinner with love and gratitude. Here, Scrooge meets Tiny Tim, Bob's ill son, whose cheerful attitude, despite his condition, begins to melt Scrooge's icy heart. The ghost uses Scrooge's own words against him when discussing Tiny Tim's potential death. "If you be like to die, you'd better do it and decrease the surplus population." Ouch. Sometimes hearing your own words quoted back at you can be the most effective wake-up call. The ghost also takes Scrooge to his nephew Fred's Christmas party, where they're playing games and Shock, horror, gasp. They're actually having fun. Something Scrooge has clearly forgotten how to do. Now the final visitor is the ghost of Christmas yet to come. This is the most terrifying of the three spirits. This ghost appears as a dark, hooded figure who doesn't speak whatsoever. The spirit first shows Scrooge a funeral scene where businessmen are wondering about the money that the dead man has left. The ghost then takes him through dark alleyways to a scene of three people picking through the belongings of the deceased. Scrooge recognizes that his own death could be met in this way. Finally, the ghost takes him to the Cratchit household, where Scrooge is upset to realize that Tiny Tim has died. Then the ghost shows him a tombstone engraved with a name, Ebenezer Scrooge. Clutching at the spirit's robes, Scrooge pledges to change his ways if he can avoid this solitary death. The ghost disappears and leaves Scrooge clutching at his bed curtains. In Stave 5, Scrooge wakes up on Christmas morning a changed man. He discovers it's still Christmas Day. The spirits did their work in just one night. Imagine getting that much character development packed into a single evening. Must be nice. Scrooge immediately sets about making amends for everything he's done. He sends a prized turkey to the Cratchit family, he gives a generous donation to charity, and he attends his nephew's Christmas dinner. He becomes like a second father to Tiny Tim, who did not die. As Dickens tells us, Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all and infinitely more. Scrooge's transformation represents the power of redemption and the idea that it's never too late to change. From bar humbug to God bless us, everyone. And that concludes our whirlwind tour of A Christmas Carol. Dickens uses this ghostly tale to critique the social inequality of Victorian England and to remind us the importance of compassion and generosity. The story's enduring popularity shows how its themes of redemption and social responsibility remain relevant even to this day. After all, I'm sure we all know a Scrooge or two, don't we? Thank you for joining me on this festive journey through one of literature's most beloved stories. Remember, if you want more in-depth analysis, character studies and revision materials on A Christmas Carol and other English literature texts, you can visit the BBC Bitesize website. The link is going to be in the description below. I want to see you next time. Goodbye.
For in-depth GCSE resources and practice, visit BBC Bitesize now.